KNBC, Los Angeles.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Tomorrow program, which is going to be a very busy hour this morning, and I'd like to get to it as quickly as I can. We'll be opening in New York City on the 2nd of December of this year, and as has been our custom when we go to a new city, and New York will be new for us for a time, we'll be opening our house in Studio 8H, which is the Peacock Theater or the old Peanut Gallery, to as many people as we can accommodate there, so that we can get to know the people of New York better, and you in turn hopefully can get to know all of us. If you would like to be with us in the first week or two, I hope that you'll write the ticket department of NBC at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, 10022, I believe is the zip code, and we will try and get some tickets to you. We have all on occasion watched children's television programs and wondered which was the most popular. I am here tonight to tell you that the most popular television program for kids in all of TV land was actually filmed about 40 years ago on some old movie lots which have long since disappeared from Southern California. And if you look at your television sets real closely now, I'll show you just about, 35 or 40 seconds from the most popular kids' TV show. Here it is.
Good evening, folks. We open our swing show with a hot number led by that king of swing, Camp Buckwheat. He's rich, too, and makes hundreds and thousands of dollars. Wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah.
Originally, those were the Our Gang comedies, and they are now running ad infinitum on independent and network-affiliated channels around this country under the title of the Little Rascals. And for those people who have been wondering where are they now, I have them right here, and I'd like to have you meet four of the most popular and famous of all the Little Rascals, starting with Mr. George Spanky McFarland. Mr. McFarland has had some questions asked about his career recently, I'm told, and for a long time people didn't know whether he was, let me take off the list here, the host of a kiddie show in Oklahoma, working for an electronics firm in Oklahoma, running a gas station in Texas, living in New Jersey, or was a wealthy business tycoon who had just made a killing on the stock market. And I'm here to tell you that none of the above is true, and we'll find out what he's doing. Next, Mr. Matthew Stymie Beard, who joined the Little Rascals back in 1930, when he was only 5 years old, and for the next 7 years until he got too big. He played the character of Stymie. Darla Hood joined the Rascals in 1936 when she was only 3 years old and quickly became the most popular leading lady. Between 1936 and 43, when she left the group, Darla appeared in over 150 episodes of the Our Gang comedy series, or The Little Rascals. And Billy Thomas, one of the most popular of all the Our Gang characters, was Buckwheat. And he is the one and only Buckwheat who appeared on that series and is still in showbiz. I'm told that he works for Technicolor here in Southern California. And I'm happy to welcome you all here, and I hope that we can trip down memory lane and look back to those good old days on the Hal Roach studio. That's where it was done, was it not?
That's right. About half of it, Tom.
Yeah.
Half of it was done there.
We went to MGM, too.
The Roach Studios were over in Culver City, huh? Right. And I was there with a news crew the day that a bulldozer came and pushed them down back in 1964 or 65 or something like that. Now, of all the careers that I listed for you, Spanky, were any of them correct?
All of them.
Well, if you made a killing on the stock market, what the hell are you doing here?
Well, that was that one may not be true, Tom. You forgot to mention hamburgers. And being a lease hound in the oil business, and a couple of other nondescript occupations. But I've been with Philco Ford for 8 years now. I'm in the commercial contract division. We lease TVs to hotels and motels. And when I haven't got anything else to do, I do college appearances.
How did you all get mixed up with the Our Gang series? Buckwheat, I'm going to start with you, and we'll just go right around the horn. How'd you get the job?
Well, I started when I was 3 years old. My mother just took me out to the studio, and I needed a person, and that was it. I've been in ever since.
Darla?
Yeah. Well, mine was a little different. I was born in a small town in Oklahoma, and I was an only child. My mother taught me to sing and dance before I really could talk and walk. And my dancing teacher in Oklahoma City took me to New York on a trip. And Joe Rifkin, who was casting director at Hal Roach at the time, was looking for a little girl. And they let me get up and sing and dance at the floor show at Edison Hotel. And he says, I want that little girl. And that was it.
And
being in the right place at the right time, I guess.
And the rest is history. How about you,
Well,
Stymie?
mine was maybe a little different. they was trying to find someone to replace Alan Hoskins, who was Farina, who had gotten too tall. You know, we all grew out of the Our Gang comedy except this dude here. He stayed little, so he's in there 9 years. So anyway, they was, you know, taking screen testers, and I think they had about 350, as I'm told, and they finally got me out to the studio somehow or another. My dad was a minister, and he was informed, and my mother and father took me out, and I just walked on this and looked at Bob McGowan, who was then the director, and he took one look at me, and he said, "Sign him up, that's who I want."
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it got started.
Spanky?
I had an aunt that lived in Fort Worth, Aunt Dottie Fry, and I had to say that, she'd kill me. She lives in Fort Worth, and she sent my picture in. The reason for that being, Tom, that I was doing some local advertising for a local soft drink company in Dallas at the time.
What, pictures on billboards or magazines?
Yeah, that type thing, you know,
Look
local.
at that cute little shaver with a can of Coke.
Right, and modeling kids' clothes, you know. And I had some local publicity, so she mailed it in, and I got lucky and stayed for 13 years, you know.
Did you have stage mothers and stage fathers and stage aunts? Did they want you to do this?
Let's see, now I can only talk for myself. I don't know about the rest of you. I think my mother would have liked to had a career because we came from a small town in Oklahoma. In those days, she never had an opportunity. She encouraged me, I guess you could say in a gentle way, she pushed me. But once I was out of the gang, I continued on. I've never really been out of show business, and she's always been in the background since that. She's never interfered or butted in or anything like that.
Billy, did your mom take you out and say, "Now, son, this is what I want you to do"?
Yeah, she took me and she helped me with, you know, the whole bit, the whole thing, and helped me in the show business. This is what you wanted me to do.
Mm-hmm. Did they think you were going to make a lot of money from this? And did you make a lot of money from this? It's really none of my business, but I just wonder if...
I think we made good money for the times.
For the time.
Tom. I don't think that, I know I didn't wind up with any.
But did your moms or dancing teachers say, now, you know, if you do this, Georgie, you're going to make a lot of money and you'll make us...
I don't think money was never mentioned to me. As a matter of fact, when I did my first film, I didn't even know it was a film. I had never seen a movie. I was just told to go out and sing and dance. Apparently, I loved to do it, and I had performed at little, you know, reviews and things that my dancing teacher had put on. Nobody said, go out and do this because we need the money at home and it's going to send you through college or anything like that.
It wasn't the classic stage mother story.
My mother was, she was beautiful, Big Mama. She loved it. She just loved the life, and she used to push me. You know, I'd go out on an interview and something, and she'd just get right up there in front. She said she loved every bit of it, and she did a lot of extra work herself. She used to double for Louise Beavers, the late Louise Beavers, and Hattie McDaniel. So she just loved the picture business altogether.
When you were in this thing, and I assume that you were all in it together, your years paralleled each other for a certain time, were you afraid of growing out of it? Did you not want to get bigger, and did you want to stay small so that you could stay in the Our Gang series?
I wanted out.
I never thought of it, did you? Well, you were there for so long. You know, you're the old man of the group.
Right. No, I think it was 43 or something, just before the demise of the gang as a series. I just told my parents, I said, I don't want, you know, I'm tired of it. I don't want to do it anymore. And you're going to have to find, you know,
find new
something
work
else.
for me.
Yes.
I couldn't understand William, you know, although I went through the thing with Farina, and then they brought William out when I was getting too large, you know, and I just felt had that funny feeling, you know. I said, oh God, I'm getting too large, and they're breaking William in, you know. And
you were hearing footsteps.
I didn't want to go. Yeah. I really didn't want to go.
No, that's funny, because I had a completely different reaction to it. I think maybe it was because I was the only girl. And, yeah, I should have appreciated it, I guess, at the time, you know, because I have all these boys around all the time. But I was lonesome in school and in between the scenes and things, because they were out playing baseball or whatever they wanted to do.
I don't want to really get heavy here, but did you ever wonder why you were the only girl?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't.
She used to catch it.
I really kind of wondered what they wanted me in the gang for, you know, because they could play baseball and do all these other things. But when they told me that I wasn't going to be in the gang anymore, I was delighted because I wanted to go to public school and meet other girls and other friends and be able to, you know,
Be one of the
play
gang.
and be one of my own gang on my own street.
That's
you know.
neat, going to public school. Boy, did I look forward to that.
Yeah, it was a
very
little
good.
disappointment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. I found out I wasn't as smart as I thought I was.
Let me call our affiliated stations to order here for a message or two, and we'll continue with our gang after these announcements. Thank you.
How'd you like to work for me again? Okay. How about you, Alfalfa? Oh, come on, Alfalfa. Croon just one song, and you'll make hundreds and thousands of dollars. I will not croon. Do you mean that you haven't given up opera yet? I'm a slave to my art. All right, then. Della, who takes first and get him ready for the act? Come on, Court.
I'm George Plimpton for Walden Books. The Leica Manual is the complete book of 35mm photography, essential to users of all makes of cameras. It's lavishly illustrated, a perfect gift for the camera buff. Goodbye, Picasso is by the famous photographer and intimate friend of Picasso, David Douglas Duncan, who brings you a profoundly personal portrait of Picasso. The handsome volume includes a number of paintings you'll be seeing for the first time. Available now at Walden Books.
We were so smart. Right. We were so smart, we waived our rights to everything. I think they can show it on Mars or someplace, and we still don't get residuals.
I think you're right.
That's
Maybe the moon.
Well, I don't know. It said something about TV in any medium which might be invented. I don't know. It was worded. I didn't read it until I was 21, and by then it was too late.
But the bottom line is you get no dough for
No
this.
dough, and I think after 40 years, I mean, you know, just
Don't
a
be
little
a name-
taste.
don't
Just
be-
a little taste.
Don't be a name dropper, Stein. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, you know.
How much do you resent that, William, not getting any? Is that a big bone of contention?
No, not really. I would like to have it, though. It would come in handy, you know, but...
You know, I always wondered if they had to pay all of us residuals, would they have ever run them as much as they have run them? Because since 1951, they've been on nationally. All,
That's right.
you know.
I think that considering the popularity of them and the advertising rates, which must be increased if a show has a good following on a local television station. I mean, in every market that I've been, little kids sit and watch these shows, and they sell all of the cereals and the soda pop and the toys and the games and whatever in them. I would certainly think that they're probably they probably are making money for the local stations that that carry them now.
That's true. You know, you can say, we all said, no, we're not getting any residuals. And in a way, I could say, yeah, but in an indirect way.
Okay.
I mentioned, like, you know, the nostalgia thing. You said that at the top of the show. Okay, I'm capitalizing on that a little bit on the weekends, by doing college appearances. Did a bunch of them last year. I'll be in, I think it's the New York University in New York at Farmingdale, Long Island, in March. I'll be at Pfeiffer College right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, April the 11th.
Do you have a list?
Incidentally, which this is kind of neat, Tom, because...
Do you have a list that you're going to give me now?
No, that's it. I got it in, Rick. No, the point I want to make, is that indirectly, because of the nostalgia craze, because these things are still popular, and that I am still, and these people are still in demand, depending on what shoot you find, you know, that we make a little bread.
Okay, now that's your bag, the colleges.
Yeah,
How do
right.
the rest of you capitalize on this if you're able to?
Well, I think there's a lot of validity in what George said. I think I capitalize. I would like to have the money, Tom, and everything, but I get a joy out of seeing little kids, you know, come up to me and talk to me, and I go around children all the time, and I think I capitalize on it that way. I get a fulfillment from my heart. I get a fix every day because somebody recognizes me and say, you know, there goes Stein, you know, and he's trying to do his thing now. I get a good feeling about that. But I think we all capitalize in some form or manner because they're on every day. So I think we all get a certain satisfaction.
Do you watch them?
Well, not all the time. My wife is my biggest fan, Annie, and she's always calling me in to watch this one, and I've watched more recently than I have in a long time since I've started my comeback, and had a couple of Sanford and Sons, and very much so since I hooked up with Amy Entertainment. So things have been pretty good for me, and I'm very happy about that.
How about you, Donna?
I was just trying to think if the word capitalize is really the word, because in some instances it's been marvelous for publicity, and it's been an entree, you know, maybe in some places, you know, that I wouldn't have gotten. Although since I've been an adult, I've never really been out of show business, and they weren't running them on television in the beginning, so I really went strictly on, you know, my singing ability and my talent and
Is that what you
things
do?
like
You
that.
sing?
I sing.
Cabaret?
I do voices.
She does everything.
Thanks a lot.
What commercial voice?
Yeah, I do voices for commercials. I'm the voice for a lot of dolls. Remember the tiny tear dolls? Yes,
Oh, you're the one.
Yes, tiny tears, you're my very own baby. Of course, when I did it, she didn't have a cold. One way that it has worked, I'm working with Ken Murray again now. I was in his Blackouts when
In the
I was
50s,
18.
sure.
And now, of course, you know, with the wonderful films that he has, they're all built on nostalgia. And he runs some of my early films, and then I sing and do 15 minutes of impressions. I do everything from Helen Kane to Caruso. And he calls it the new Blackouts of 1975, so I'll be working with
Caruso.
him. Really?
Sure.
All right.
Wait,
Now
let's
this-
hide. Wait,
this
put
is
away the
Caruso.
glasses, guys.
This is Caruso with a cold. All right. I've got a cold.
When your mouth was open wide, you should spray that back there.
That would be a good idea. I brought a cough drop in case.
William, how about yourself? Now, you're with Technicolor. What do you do for them?
Well, that's about the size of it. I've been in the motion picture lab technician business ever since I got out the service, and I haven't tried to get back in show business at all. But I think I'm gonna have to start because I see everybody else is back into it, so I might as well go on and shoot back in there and try to get some going myself, you know.
Let me hear your Caruso.
No, I can't follow that up. No way.
An interesting thing about him, though, when you come back, Tom, ask him about his hobby, which I understand is
Tremendous.
fantastic. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
What is your hobby?
CB operator, ham radio operator.
Citizens Band.
Citizens
All
Band.
right, we'll have a few squawks and whistles announcements when tomorrow rolls on from Southern California.
And there, coming over the snow, was a flock of polar bears.
Polar bear?
Yes, sir.
What, did somebody die?
What do you mean, did somebody die?
When Mose Johnson started off in his coffin, he had a flock of polar bears.
Well, after we got out of that mess, the crew was taken by malaria.
Where did she take them?
Who took who?
You said malaria took them someplace.
I said they were taken by malaria.
I didn't even know she was there.
Who was there?
Why, the lady you was talking about.
I was just asking Stymie Beard if that one line, malaria, where did she take you? Did you know that that was funny when you said it?
Well, everybody laughed, I guess. That made me know that it was funny. I think Billy Gilbert was funny. I mean, just being with, you know, with having him to do it with me, I think it had a lot to do with it being funny. He was a great comedian who's not with us anymore. But I think he was just a beautiful guy, like everybody was around Hal Roach Studio. There was Laurel and Hardy, and there was Charlie Chase.
Those were the days.
And there was Zazu Pitts and Patsy Kelly.
Let me just ask William, who do you talk to on CB?
Well, mostly the local calls. Because city band, you can't go out of, you know, 150 miles, so we say. So I won't talk anymore about that. But I talk around the world.
Good hobby for you.
It is. It's interesting.
He gets up at 6
Sounds
o'clock in the morning and talk.
That's great.
I don't want to pull apart the format of the Our Gang comedy series, but I must ask you this question. Looking back on these films, and this really applies, I suppose, to Willie and to Stymie, Do you feel now that you were stereotyped into being black kids or pickaninnies on these shows, and that your roles were somehow tailored differently from the way Spanky's was? And I really shouldn't put you in this, because maybe as a little girl, yours was tailored into a stereotype too. What do you think about that?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think about so long ago, you know, 40-some years ago, we was put in a, you know, in a group of children at a very young age, and I think it was that somebody had an idea that this is the way that things should be at this particular time. I think I feel it was great. Some of the lines that I had to say, some of them I don't like, but I never look at it like that. I just try to look at it as mostly a fun thing. We were just a group of kids who were having fun.
You weren't made to feel differently on the set? Or
No, we all had the same thing. We all stayed together and partied together, and we all were together. You know, and the director, Robert McGowan, was a miracle man. He just had a way with kids, and he used to, you know, we had trouble, we'd get spanked. You know? Gordon Douglas.
That was my name.
I've got to, if you don't mind, Tom, I've got to ask Buckwheat a question, because I thought that he has been dead all these years. I went to the same story that everybody else. I got to give you the quick background. It's like the comedy that was, you know, germane to the comedies, okay? Very low-key stuff that brought belly laughs. Example, when the gang got the measles, the prop man came around and put the little black spots on Darla and me and us and Carl Schweitzer, Alfalfa, and whoever else was around, okay? But now when they came to Buckwheat, what are you going to do? He's got to have white measles, right?
Well, if you say so.
Right on.
If you think you're going to leave me to that crap, you're crazy. I'm not going to have the lines out here.
Whatever
Just
fair.
background.
All right.
Come on, Tom, you're braver than that.
All right, he had to have white measles.
Okay.
Right.
I have never seen that comedy shown on TV because I heard that it was demeaning to the black race. It was demeaning to Buckwheat, and that was one of the reasons it's never been shown. I was just curious about your feeling about that.
I remember the picture quite well. Well, you know, they had to do something, so white measles was white measles.
Yeah, but how did you feel about that?
Well,
I know you were quite young, but I'm just curious.
and money-wise, you know, it felt pretty good.
In other words,
But
you did it as a
you weren't
job.
put down
It was
about
a job.
anything.
It was a job.
didn't criticize the reason for
no,
doing it.
you know, it was a job, and it was a nice living.
Well, maybe
so-
I can answer, because some of the things that I see on TV I do not like. Some of them I don't like. You know, some of them, you know, I have looked at the Little Rascals more recently since I've been married to Annie than I have in my whole life. You know, and some of the things I like, and some of them I don't. So the NAACP did edit quite a few with William and myself. I don't even think he knows it, but they did edit a few for, I think, for Channel 4's newscast one time, and some other things. They edited a few. It's very hard to answer the question that you asked, because as children, we didn't have too much feelings then about it. But sometimes when I see them now, it kind of kicks up something. But then I said, oh, man, that was then.
Yeah.
40
Ancient
years
history.
ago.
40 years
Ancient
ago.
history,
Right.
you know.
Do you feel
40
that
years
same
ago.
way about whatever stereotypes you might see yourself in as the only little girl? And
Not particularly. I do remember, now that I look back on it, I was always used to cause trouble between the boys. You know, they were fighting over me. Spanky
you think
wouldn't
that
want...
still doesn't go on?
Oh, of course it goes on. As a matter of fact, you know, it got me in very bad habits because I became a terrible flirt. You know, I have one boyfriend for one day and one for the next. Do you know, Spanky, I had such a crush on you. You were like my first crush. And, you know, when we got over to MGM, you never know who took my heart away. Clark Gable.
Oh, I thought you were going to lost it to Mickey Rooney or something.
Well, no, I'll tell you, it was a toss-up. It was a
That's
toss-up.
not bad second fiddle.
I was so tickled. You know, at the time, I remember sitting on Clark Gable's lap. I thought that was great, but then Mickey Rooney bought the ice cream, so, you know, you got to go with the spender.
How much did you all love each other when you were working together?
I think you said that wrong, Tom.
How much did you all hate each other when you were working together? I mean, you were kids, huh?
We had scraps, man. Let's
I
face
thought
it.
Right.
our bunch got
We
along
had
awfully well.
scraps. We had
did.
scraps.
We
We
Just
worked
like any kids.
an 8-hour day, Tom. And in that 8 hours, if it was Monday through Friday, we
3
had
hours.
to go to school 3 hours a day on the set.
There was somebody from the
Absolutely.
office there
well,
watching.
the gang, you know, we were the big cheeses. We had our own teacher. And when we weren't shooting, we went to the lot and went to school, like every other kid did. We had our own private tutor, Mrs. Carter. You know?
Yeah, right. Oh,
picture right
Okay,
there.
but we had to shoot 8 hours, right? Where? Yeah, there she was right there.
On the end down
Mrs.
there
Carter.
with Stymie. That's
With
Mrs.
me and
Carter.
Tommy Bond and Stymie there. That was our teacher.
Doesn't she look friendly?
A
Well, she-
great
Oh,
woman.
she was
really.
such a, what an education we got, huh,
Yeah,
from her.
right.
Fantastic.
And, you know, this is tough. When the studio was relegated to 8 hours, and out of that 8, we had to go to school 3, over and out. That was all of us to it.
But you mean you didn't sit around and say, well, I don't see why they give him all those lines.
No.
Why can't I be on
No,
camera
no.
or something like that?
And that might have gone on maybe with the parents in the background. I was never aware of that myself, though. But I think if anything went on, it might have been the parents arguing about, well, how come her son got this, and he had
If
more.
it went on at all, it
Yeah,
was that.
yeah.
And
But
I'm
what
not
was
sure it
happening,
did.
we all got plenty of exposure. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't really
Yeah.
necessary.
It wasn't that they didn't know who you were
That's right.
and who you are.
Yeah.
I couldn't lose if they needed a flirt. Who else were they going to use, right?
In case unless one of the little boys had a problem, and we don't want to go into that. Or do we want to go in? It was you. No. But time,
open my mouth.
I've got to, well, then it wasn't you.
Okay.
I've got to go into sex clinics here after these announcements. Now, I know that you've got a book coming out. Will you come visit us in New York? I'd love for all of you to
I
come
would just
visit.
like to say, you know, I'd like to speak for all of us. You know, I've been trying to get this thing together for a long time, and I'd just like to, you know, wish you and your whole staff the very best when you go to New York. And I was hoping we would get to come to do it in New York. But that
Well,
was
I'm
my-
going to extend an invitation to all of you now, and I especially want to talk to you about your experiences with Synanon, and you with the colleges, and have you with the imitations, and you with the work in the lab, and whether there were heartaches involved with this, and whether you wish for the good old days, and 152 other questions that I just don't have time for here. So I will extend that invitation to you now, although I can't say exactly when, and we'll get it all together again. And I really
Sounds
hope that you'll
great, Tom.
consider it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
We'd be very
My
happy to
thanks
come.
to Buckwheat, William Thomas, and to Darla Hood, and to Spanky McFarland, and to good old Stymie Beard. Here, did you want to hold that, or don't put it on, because it's a stereotype. And let me also thank here Channel 52, Kaiser Broadcasting in Los Angeles, and King World Productions for making these fantastic films available to us. And we'll continue with the sex clinic right after these announcements. I hope you can all stay
Can I
out.
stay and watch?
Sure.